How is President Trump looking on the world stage during his Asia tour? Here now to weigh in, Asia analyst Gordon Chang and former U.S. Army Special Forces Commander Jim Hanson. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on this morning. Gordon, I want to start with you. The president, this was his sweet spot in this speech last night, talking economics, talking about unfair trade practices and these deals like the TPP that he hates. This is how he won those blue states. This is how he sold his message out that we're going to bring these jobs back. And Vietnam has been exploding with their economy. Is it on our backs that they've had that success?
Well, certainly if you look at trade as a trade deficit or surplus matter, yes, the United States has run persistent trade deficits with a number of countries. Some of them are allies like Japan and South Korea. Some of them are adversaries like China, and some like friends of Vietnam. We're going to have, I think, a very difficult trade environment going forward, because those remarks about the theft of intellectual property means the Section 301 investigation that President Trump's trade advisor started a couple months ago in August. This is going to be a real source of disruption in their trade relationship with China, because China's theft of intellectual property can be as much as $300 to $600 billion a year.
Wow.
We can't ignore that anymore.
Yeah, and we're trying to get a lot out of China right now in regards to Kim Jong-un and that as well. So we're being greedy in that regard. Jim, over to you real quick, just to look at the speech here. It was really good, I thought. I mean, it was so his wheelhouse. He's talking about the economy. He's talking about ISIS, which he's doing great with. I mean, that was a big part of the speech.
I think after 8 years of Obama's cringing capitulation all around the world, it was a pleasure to watch President Trump proclaim that we will put America first, and to point out to the world that he's not going to put up with the bad actions that we have in the past. He said that we're going to go ahead and assert our power as the world's sole superpower and make sure that people like China, who have been, both on the economic stage and also in their support for North Korea, have been causing problems for the rest of us. So I think he's really changed the game and put the world on notice that America's back.
Yeah, it's a very, very different president. Gordon, just your thoughts on the speech.
Well, I thought it was really important he focused on trade, because that is what APEC is all about. And right now, especially this APEC summit, is more focused on trade than normal years. He went to Beijing. He talked a little bit about trade in terms that people didn't like. And I think that the issue here is going to be, going forward, that he's going to have very difficult conversations around the region. But that's a good thing, because at some point we needed to have these discussions. And, President Trump has to do it, because he's got midterm elections next year, which
he certainly does.
That depends Republican majorities.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim, over to you real quick. We've got this potential meeting with Vladimir Putin. We don't know if it's going to happen. We think it's probably going to happen. What can he give Vladimir Putin to get him to cooperate and squeeze Kim Jong-un at this point? Can he give him something in Syria? Can he give him something in Ukraine? Is there anything he can bargain with here?
I think the bargaining power is that the United States is willing to use its clout to get what we want. Now, obviously, we have to give a little bit. I think we've already decided that we'll allow Russia to keep Assad in power in Syria. That's a huge gift to the Russians in their need to have a warm water base there. But I don't think he should be prepared to give too much. I think he wants to maintain a strong relationship with Putin and say that, look, you absolutely cannot help North Korea. And as far as Ukraine and other areas, we're not going to accept the status quo of you guys pushing your weight around with no American response.
Absolutely. And I think Putin will respect his stance and his posture on all this, and a tough American president. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Pleasure.